Hey, welcome to another amazing episode of Coffee with Tracey. I am your host, Tracey Osborne. With me today is Lara Wellman. I'm really excited to talk about this topic. We are talking about how to plan your life to plan your business. And this is really kind of cool because I always think of it as the opposite. You want to plan your business around your life. So, this is kind of cool. So let me read her bio and then we're going to get going. So Lara Wellman is a certified business coach for small and micro-sized business owners as well as solopreneurs. She helps people get crystal clear on their business goals, gives the support they need to reach them, and guides them toward creating the business and life they dream about. Her background in marketing allows her to support business owners in making sure they are investing their time and money into the right marketing efforts to support their overall business goals. So welcome, Lara.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here. So, okay, first of all, what do you mean by micro-sized business owners?
So that's sometimes when you think it's just tiny, like little businesses. Small businesses can really be 10, 15, 20 people. But having that distinction where I'm talking either a solopreneur, maybe you have an assistant or you have somebody who works part-time for you or a couple of people and you're still home-based possibly, or you have a bricks and mortar, but it's just really like one or two people. You're not like a huge
like a mom and pop
organization. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That was cool. I was reading that in your bio. I was like, okay, so what is the difference between small, micro, and solo? So that's
because small can be quite big when you think about it, right? Like it's not thousands, but small still qualifies as quite a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're talking corporate world, especially, or brick and mortar, for sure.
Yeah.
So this topic is kind of interesting because usually I say, plan your business around your life, but you say plan your business or plan your life around your business. So
you plan your life to plan your business.
Plan your life to plan your business. So yeah, tell me what you mean by that.
So I think it's really important for business owners to stop and decide what it is they want their life to look like. How much do they want to work? How little do they want to work? And I think that there's no right answer, right? Some people may want to work 80 hours a week. Some people may want to work 15 hours a week. And they're fine, but you need to know what kind of capacity you have or what you're looking to build, how much time you need off, why you need it off. Do you only want to work a certain amount of weekends per year? Do you only want to work a certain amount of evenings per week? Having a knowledge of how much you want to work and how little you want to work is one part. And another is understanding how much you need to earn,
right,
versus how much you want to earn. And understanding what you want to earn that money for, like what is it that you're trying to create in your life? And the reason that I think this is important is because a lot of the business owners that I work with started a business because they were looking for more freedom and flexibility in their lives. Like that's why they started a business. They weren't necessarily business owners who were looking to build an empire or who were looking to take off and have hundreds of employees. Yeah. They really just wanted to do something that they enjoyed doing and having the flexibility, sometimes around their family, sometimes just because they wanted, to travel more, but it was about freedom and flexibility. Mm-hmm. And then you start a business and you know that if you're running a business, you need to get clients. And to get clients, you need to do X, Y, Z. See, that's my Canadian coming out in me. And you sort of end up on a hamster wheel and you end up just going more. How am I going to get more clients? How am I going to do this? What happens next? Somebody else comes to you and says, do you do this? And you say, oh, sure. And then suddenly you're doing all kinds of things and working all kinds of hours you never meant to. And there's no freedom in that, right? So that's why I think it's so important to have thought ahead of time about what it is you actually want. Because when you know what you want, then you can build the business that you want around that. Is it the kinds of services? Certain kinds of services aren't going to fit into a business if you say, I only work with certain kinds of people and they're only available on weekends and I never want to work weekends, right? Like you need to be really clear on what it is you're okay with and not okay with if you're going to build a business that you actually enjoy running.
Oh my gosh. I can't tell you how important that is because I didn't do that going in. I started my business just as a way so I could stay home with the kids. And I had no plan. I just kind of, I was like, whatever, we'll just see where it goes. Yeah. Kind of like I do with these podcasts. It's just like, let's just see where the call takes us. Right. And that's kind of what I did with my business. And so it took me a long time to get to where I am now. and finally figuring out, okay, this is the kind of business I want to run, and this is how many hours I want to work. And now it's summertime and the kids are home, I want to scale back. And now I have the flexibility and the ability, because I have the right team members, in order for me to do that. My business will still run whether I'm here or not. So not having that plan kind of had me floundering for a long time. And I did get to that point where I was working 16 hours a day, because I was constantly saying, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. And that wasn't what I wanted at all. I was at home with the kids, but I wasn't really with the kids because I was stuck in front of my stupid computer all the time.
Exactly. So, right? Knowing what you're actually trying to achieve helps you figure out what you actually need to do. And I really think I see this so much, right? So a lot of people like maybe to be home with the kids, and that's what I did. That's how I stayed home, and started this particular business. But I've been an entrepreneur for about 10 years. And there's a whole bunch of times where I just sort of went, right? You just go. Yeah. And I see all the time, like, how did I end up here? Or the kids are home for the summer, and then just like my business just goes, right? I hadn't planned for it. I hadn't figured out like how to have a slow time through the summer. Right. And then now, over time, I've figured out the systems, but I know that I need to plan for a life that basically has 10 weeks of downtime per year. And I was like, 10 weeks off a year. I'm like, well, I've got kids and I spend at least half the summer with them, and there's Christmas break, and then there's a spring break. And then sometimes I like to go to a conference, and sometimes I like to do something for me. I need to know that there's going to be at least 10 weeks where it's not full throttle. So I can't offer a 1-year program that's then full throttle, right? Like you need to know what you can do and what you can't do based on what is actually the most important thing to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think part of it is we have to figure out, like you said, where we want to go and how we want to get there. But, I always talk about having a successful business, successful this, successful that. But, what does success really mean? How important is it that we figure out? I know that success is different for everybody. But, how important do you think it is that we really define what success is for us in order to plan our life for our business?
So important, because for most people, I think you're absolutely right. Success looks different to most people, but most people haven't thought about what success means to them. They just think more, right? I'm going to be successful when I make more money, when I make a lot of money, when I make 6 figures, when I make 7 figures, like whatever that is. But you haven't actually figured out why you want that. And if you spend some time figuring out why you want it, then first of all, you're more motivated to get there if you know what you're trying to get it for. And then secondly, sometimes you can be like, you know what, I'm okay here, right? Maybe I want to sit here for a little while. I think there's a lot of people out there trying to prove their success to other people more than trying to make themselves happy. Yeah. And I just think we're all different, and we all need to figure out what we're in it for. And if you haven't spent the time to figure out what you're in it for, how are you going to know how to do it?
Oh my God, and success doesn't necessarily have to even be around money, period.
No.
It could be around a certain level of expertise, or a certain number of clients, or just the fact that, your business has gone 10 years. My business has gone 10 years. That to me is a huge success. Absolutely. Considering the fact that like 95% of businesses fail in their first year. So the fact that we've made it 10 years is huge. That to me is just a massive success. So yeah, I think that.
And for me, success has also been doing what I love, right? Yeah. So there were a lot of years, right? So I've been in business 10 years, but I've done a lot of different businesses. So my first business was like an online clothing store. And I did social media and marketing consulting for a lot of years. And then now I'm a business coach. Right. And I love being a business coach.
I do too.
But there were years where there were a lot of things that I was doing because I should, or somebody told me I could, or there were people who needed that. And I think, again, there are so many things people end up doing because they are able to do it, but not because they want to.
Oh, I went down that path too. I started out at doing the virtual assistant stuff. And I've done that most of the 10 years. But then there was a time where I thought, wow, okay, I'll be a social media expert. and I didn't really want to be a social media expert. And then I thought, well, I'm going to be a branding expert. Well, you can't really be a branding expert if you don't even know what the hell branding means. So I was like, okay, well, that doesn't work. So, it took me a while to kind of figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I, like you, I love being a business coach. I love, just helping and guiding other people to figure out where they're going. But it took me 9 years to get to that point.
Yep.
I didn't have a plan.
Right. And so many people don't. And, people ask you the question all the time, if you could go back, what is the one thing you wish you knew about starting a business? Like one of the most common questions, but it really is, you need to get support. And I think that we all have a tendency to think we need to be able to do things on our own, whether that's the stuff that really you should be outsourcing because you're not good at it. And like, you need to get a VA, you need to get some help doing the things that aren't the things you're great at. Right. And also you need somebody who's not in your brain to help you understand whether or not your ideas make sense, and whether that's a business coach or another entrepreneur or a mastermind. Like you need somebody outside your head to help you figure out if you're in the right place.
I'm telling you, I'm going to be really candid here. So I earned for like probably the first 7 or 8 years, like $35,000 a year. And I was okay with that. That to me was awesome. That replaced my current income. I had a husband who, made lots of money as a truck driver. So we were great. But then came the time where I was the sole support. And so 35,000 no longer was good.
Yeah.
But my mindset wasn't, I couldn't get above that $35,000 mindset. And finally I did. And finally, but it wasn't until I hired a coach that I was able to go over that and finally break 6 figures, because my coach keeps me on track. And, I have shiny project syndrome. So I get an idea, instead of flushing it out or thinking about it, let's go, let's just start, and so then I get all these half finished things because I get started on them and I'm like, no, that's probably not going to happen. So yeah, having that business coach was probably the single most important investment I've made, not only in myself, but in my business over the past few years. And without him, I would probably still be like struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it really helps. And I think that we all get stuck. We get stuck in these patterns and beliefs in blocks. So you say, and I was fine at 35, right? And I've been there too, but there was also a big part of me that thought if I made over a certain amount of money, it was going to be more work than I wanted. So don't even try.
Right.
Don't try to make that much money. That's going to be too hard. It's going to be too chaotic. You've got 3 kids. Like, it's too busy. No. Right. Stay here where it's nice and comfortable. And it doesn't need to mean making a certain amount of money. It doesn't need to mean life's going to get unmanageable. But people get stuck there, and you need somebody to call you on your stuff and say, you know what, you can still have the life you want, but the life that you planned for, and make this amount of money. But you need a plan. You need to know how. You need to think through what's actually going to work. And you need all those pieces. I think, as a business coach, I talk to people all the time about their business, and their personal stuff comes through, right?
Always.
Of course. You can't separate yourself from your business. You're not 2 separate entities. And so that's why you also need to know what you want your life to look like to plan your business. If you haven't thought about it, you're going to end up off down some path you never meant to be on. And if you just were really intentional from the start, what am I looking for? What do I want to feel? What makes me happy?
Right.
What, like, I know it's harder, I need to build my business. And again, people get stuck in this. I need to build my business. It means I need to work really, 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 really hard. I need to work all hours. I need to work evenings and weekends. I need to make this money. I need to get more clients. And I'm not saying you don't need to work hard, but there are times when you can put on boundaries that will not mean you won't be successful. To say I won't work more than 1 weekend a month is not going to suddenly mean your business won't be successful.
Oh my gosh. It wasn't really until I created and had those boundaries that I was able to actually start getting more and more successful, because I was killing myself. I was burning out. because I was working so much. So now I have those boundaries. I stop work at a certain time. I don't work weekends unless I'm in the middle of a launch or something. I don't even check my email on weekends or after hours. It comes to my phone, but I don't even pull up the app. I don't even look at it. And I have to do that because I am a workaholic, and I will continue to work all hours of the day and night if I don't. But having that time to unplug really recharges myself, recharges me and recharges my brain and my energy. And, so it wasn't until I actually started doing that and unplugging and creating those boundaries and telling my clients, no, you cannot text me at 11 o'clock at night, that my business really started to take off.
Fear holds us back so much, right? I'm sure you've seen this too. There are all kinds of times where you're so afraid to charge more. And as soon as you charge more, you get more sales.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I'd like to tell people actually, it's a quote from Bill Barron. There's more competition at the lower end of the spectrum than there is at the higher end.
Right.
So, charge more.
Yeah. So you're working, less or, the same amount, but you're making more money, right? So let's say you're not making as many sales, but you don't need as many sales to make the same amount of money. So you can stop there if you want. If that was the amount of hours you could work, you can start there. Now you're working less, making the same amount of money, or you can work a bit more and get more money. But I think the same with boundaries and like, you can't text me at this time, or I don't work on weekends, or if I charge more, it's all like this fear that suddenly the business is going to go away. And you need a plan. You need people to talk to. You need to make sure that people call you on it when they see you getting stuck, and know that you're going to get stuck, because we all get stuck.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We all have these beliefs and blocks.
Right. Without that support team, somebody to go to, even if it's just, I have my work BFF, right? And I'll go to her and say, hey, I'm stuck. I this, that, and the other, and we'll bounce ideas back and forth. Even just having that is a tremendous help if you don't have a coach at this point in time.
Absolutely. It can just be a buddy.
Somebody to call you on your stuff.
You sure do. Yeah. But yeah, coming back around again to that life bit though, the more you know about what you want, the more you know what you need to build to make it happen. Is it systems? Is it knowing that you need somebody,
right?
If you have an assistant, that they're going to hold things when you're not as available. Like, the more you know what needs to happen, what work needs to go into making it happen, planning. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not a planner by nature, right? Like, that is not my natural way of being, like pre-planning and getting everything totally lined out and like really detail oriented. That's not me. And so I fought against it for a really long time because I wanted to just go with the flow and do what felt right.
Yep.
And you know what? All the people who tell you need to plan, they're right.
They are. Doesn't work so well that way. And I'm the same way. I'm not a, get down to the total nitty gritty type of lay it all out. I get the big chunks. The rest of it stays up here, but I get the big chunks of it at least put down somewhere. But so that's why I have team members. I have my OBM. She can do that little nitty gritty planning that I don't want to do. I don't want to do it. So the things that you don't want to do, outsource.
Really?
Outsource. Get them off your plate. What are some other things that you think or that you've seen people struggle with when they don't plan?
I think that it's a combination of things. Some of it is like the amount that they're working, and that's certainly a lot of what I've seen. Either they're working too much, and they don't even need to be making that much money, right? Like you're working yourself to so hard, and you're not getting to spend the time doing the things that you wanted to do in the first place, right? So why are you doing this? The other thing that I see is people who are not enjoying what they do, but that's not right. But it's you know how to do this thing, so can you do it? And just, it's a scarcity fear, right? That if I don't take anything anybody offers me, that I'm not going to be successful and no other business is going to come. So just having a really clear idea of what you like, what you don't like, again, how much money you want to make, how much you need to make versus want is another one, right? Because some people the numbers they're trying to hit, there's nothing, they're not really motivated by just a number, right? So let's say it's 6 figures, right? I want to hit 6 figures in my business this year. And if you ask them why, it's sort of because they think that's what they should want.
Right.
But if it came down to, that means that I get to go on a couple holidays a year. It means my kids get to go to this thing. We're going to take a family trip to Disney. We're going to get to renovate the kitchen. And I'm just going to feel like I'm doing something I love, and my whole life feels nice and calm, and I get to do the things I love at the same time. And that costs, if I make 6 figures, I can get all of that, right? When you know what it is you're trying to create, especially if you're not the type of person who's just motivated by money. And some people are, but some people just aren't. They're like, you know what? Just closing a big contract is not really that motivating. Like, it sounds great the first time, but like, is it just about making more money? No, it's not. It's about making sure that they know they have more time, they have more ease, they have less overwhelm, they have more of the things they just enjoy in life. And if you haven't thought about what you'd like, it's like the vision boards and the, like, what do you want? What do you want that money for? And some of it is bills. So that's why you need to know, right? What do you need? What is the base amount that you need?
Yeah.
But then what do you want and why? And how much does that cost? And what does that mean? And if you have to choose between working more and wanting more and less time with your family, or do you need to come up with a different kind of service so that you can still have the time and have more money? But if you don't know that you want the time, you're not going to think about what you need to build in your business that takes less time.
Yep, absolutely. Having your why is crucial. It's really crucial. A very well-defined why, not only because it helps you create your plans, but also because those tough times where you're ready to throw in the towel, and we all have them.
Of course.
Going back to your why, why in the world am I going through this? Why am I doing this? Oh yeah, because I want to be home with my babies. I want to do this. I want to do that. It's absolutely crucial to have that why.
Yeah.
And it's going to change. It's the why I had 10 years ago is sort of similar to my why now, but it changes. It evolves over the years. Just like the plan changes and evolves as you change and your business changes and evolves. So it's not, oh gosh, well, if I say now that in 5 years I want to do this, that doesn't mean that 2 years later, it doesn't change, or it can't change. It's not written in stone.
But if you've written it down and if you've thought it through, you have something to start with. So recently I had this whole new idea. I got really excited. I was like, you know what, maybe I want a bricks and mortar location. We're gonna have a location, and then people will be able to come in, and I'll have in-person clients, but I'll be able to do big workshops, and I'll be able to do this and that. It was like this big idea. And I really do believe that I could make it work, right? In the city I live in, I could make it work, I could do it. And you start looking at properties, I'm thinking about it in my hand, right? And then I take out, I know what I want because I've spent time thinking about it. I know that there's about 10 weeks of downtime. I know that I mostly work what I call school bus hours, which is 8:30 to 3:30. So that's when the kids are gone, and like I work school bus hours. And so when I think, okay, this idea is it's gonna require a lot more work. I need to be out of the house more. I need to, there's going to be a lot more investment, a lot more monthly cost. Yada. Could I make it work? I could make it work. Do I want to make it work, right? So then I hold it up next to the other priorities, and then I decide which one I want more. And I could have picked the big idea, and like, that's okay. So we're going to put the kids in more childcare, and you know what? I need to be away from them a little bit more right now, and I need this, and right? Like, whatever it is, I could very well have picked that. But if I had just gone without, like it's a great idea, I'm just going to go do it. And I'm telling you, 10 years ago, I opened a store this way, and it's a bad idea. Like, not enough thought had gone into what it would require for me to be away from my family. Not enough time had gone into all of the work and what sacrifices I would have to make that decision for my family. And so now that I have that plan that I can hold up and decide which one do I want more, at least I'm starting somewhere, not just like this big, thing that sounds like a great idea without even taking the other stuff into consideration.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I bought into a gas station 15 years ago without even really, I didn't do my research. I never owned a gas station before. I didn't know what was involved. You know, the guys who come and fill up the tanks, the big tanks of gas, had to tell me, oh, you've got to measure it, and this is what you have to do. And you know, I had no clue what I was doing. I don't even know what I was thinking. You know, and I had no plan. Let's just do this, and it tanked. It tanked big time. We lost a lot of money on it, but it was a good lesson. You know, it was okay. Well, next time let's kind of think things through a little bit more. Before we go spend $100,000 on a silly gas station that we have no business running, just because it's across the street from our house. So you know, yeah, it's just so important to have that plan. And you know, it's funny because I was sitting here thinking while you were talking, I was like, you know, remember back when we used to go to job interviews, and they would ask you, you know, where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? I hated that question because I had no idea. I'm like, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you in 5 years. You know, I have no clue because I had no plan.
Yep.
You know?
But I absolutely agree with you. The plans change, and you can change, and don't expect it. And sometimes I think that people think, well, if I write it down, like I'm stuck. It can change.
Yeah.
But you just want a baseline. You want to know where you're starting. You want to know why you're starting there, and you want to have something to measure up against. So spend some time writing it down. And I think it's really important to write it down, whether you type it out or write it on paper, because people say, well, yeah, I know. I'm like, but it's one thing to just think it, and it's another thing to put it down and then be able to read it back. You need to get it out of your head and then look back at it and be like, okay, yes, there it is.
What is that saying? Something like a goal that's not written down is just a dream.
Oh, yeah, I think it's something like that.
Something
exactly,
like that.
Right? Like you need to make it tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, wow, this has been awesome. I have some planning to do.
And I do have a worksheet, right? So I've typed out a bunch of questions where it's
cool.
like, think these through. These are some of the starting questions for you to figure out, what do you want your life to look like? And then once you know what your life looks like, and maybe you already have a business, maybe you're starting out, maybe you're ready to change, but keep that stuff all in mind when you think about, like, okay, what are the services or things that I want to do? How much am I going to want to work? How am I going to make the amount of money I want to make based on this? They need to work together.
Right. Right. Awesome. Awesome. Where can we get that worksheet?
So you can get it on my website, which is at thebiz.studio.
Okay. Awesome.
And there's a little pop-up that comes up, and it's on the front page, so you can grab it there for sure.
Very cool.
I also have a Facebook group, so that might be a good place if you want to come into the Facebook group, and then I have it there when you come in, and it's called the Biz Studio Community. And you can actually get to that group if you go to thebizstudio.ca. It goes directly to the Facebook group.
Awesome. Awesome. We'll put those links down below the video, so just scroll down a little bit and you'll see them.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you so much, Lara. This has been awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Listeners, as always, thank you. Without you, this show would be nothing. I would just be talking to some wonderful people, which I don't mind, but I still appreciate you listening. So have a great one. We'll see you on the next episode.